What's up, guys? It's John at National Sports Entertainment, and I wanted to go into the Packers today against the Dolphins, for the simple reason that this is a very important game, obviously, and the Raiders lost. So now that's they, in my opinion, they're not just gonna bump a bunch of teams out of the playoffs in the same week. Now they didn't bump a bunch out, but a few Browns, Raiders, mostly on the AFC side, were mathematically eliminated. So now you got the NFC side where they had already eliminated most of the teams because you have the AFC. They were slick with the NFC South, but outside of that, a lot of teams are out. So if you look at it, I still think we have the same picture. But I did notice that if the Dolphins were to win this game against the Packers, and even if the NFC lost out for week 17 and 18, I'm talking about the Seahawks, Commanders, and Giants, and the Packers won those following weeks, week 17 and 18, even beating Detroit, it wouldn't be enough for them to get in. That you can see that the Seahawks would get in, and even the Lions would get in ahead of the Packers. And I'm talking about with the Packers winning out and beating Detroit. So it just doesn't make sense to me, looking at it now, that the Dolphins win this game. That they win this game. I think the Packers do. I am officially taking them to cover the 3.5. Buying to 4 would not hurt, but if you're looking for odds, since to me this is a narrative game, them covering isn't going to change their playoff, the ramifications, but them winning does. So, if you watch my videos for the narratives, and you're thinking, that stands to reason. Obviously, you're getting better money on the money line. It's almost 2-1. It's pretty appealing. However, I would say I always stick with the numbers, as I went over yesterday in our rough loss with the Raiders, why I stick with the numbers so much. So I do like the Packers here with the 3.5, buying the 4 again. 4 is another, outside of 7 and 3, 4 is the third, I believe, highest scored, highest margin that happens. In this Rams Broncos game, it's a boring game, so I'll hit the night one separately, the Bucks. But for now, we're gonna hit this too. I do like the Rams for the simple reason I think they want to give the Seahawks a nice draft pick. And how do you do that? Well, you have the Broncos lose out because they have their pick. So I also think the Rams they're talking about these ugly Christmas uniforms. So I think they're going to win. Now, I want to go into the Giants' path to the playoffs because I want to try and get these teams before they seem too obvious, and it's hard to hit every one of them. So I figured while I'm kind of in relevant territory, Packers' path to the playoffs, I'd hit the Giants. And I'm going to hit the Commanders too, okay? I'm going to hit them both in the same video here. It was originally just for the Giants, but we're going to do them both. And again, I'm just going to hit the next 2 weeks. I'm hoping to get all these out by way before next week. So that way you all know every team I have and why. So obviously, like I went over yesterday, we were wrong with the Raiders. We had them getting in, and they didn't. They're not going to. And I think we will be right with the Dolphins, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Titans. So let's look at the Packers, because I had a video on their path to the playoff, and obviously for them and the Giants to both get in would be difficult. In my last video, you see I did not have the Packers getting in. So with reassessing, let's see where we put things. So when we're looking at these games, I do think that there's only a couple the Bucks are going to win. So now we move to week 17, and it's mostly on the NFC end. Now, on this game, I'm actually going to give it to the Giants, and there's one reason for that. I think the Jets are going to upset the Hawks. I think they'll be considered an upset. So there's that. On the other end, I also think same thing with that I mentioned with the Seahawks. I think they're going to give the Browns a pretty good pick, and then get them a decent pick. And they're already out of the playoffs. Makes sense they lose. The reason I have the Colts losing to the Giants is I actually have them beating the Chargers tomorrow night. So I don't think they get 2 upsets in a row. They might, but that's what I went with there. And you can see I gave Green Bay a win over Minnesota, and we gave Detroit a win. So we're not making it easy on the Giants. Nor we gave them a win, but like I said, I'm just trying to give them where I think they will win and lose. Now we're on week 18, and again, this is what I was explaining, not to get off track, but this Jets game won't even matter if the Dolphins win this week. It could, should the Patriots upset the Dolphins next week. But again, if the Dolphins win this week, the Patriots don't have a play. So you're really ruining 4 games. You're ruining the Vikings, Packers, Lions, Jets, Dolphins, and Patriots, Dolphins the week prior. If we have the Packers lose tonight. So I just don't think it makes sense. Here we'll have the Packers win again, and I think the Bucs win. I gave this to the Cowboys. I think the Eagles are going to be resting their starters, to be quite honest. I think they will have the first. And you can see with Hurts, they're kind of setting that up. So I'm going to go there. And I got the Packers win. So those are all the main teams. Where's the Seahawks? They're playing the Rams. I give that to them. Okay. So when we do that, you can see the Patriots would get in as a 6 seed. That's not because of the way the things turned out. I just forgot to pick the Bills on accident. So Patriots aren't getting in. This is how I think it turns out. I think we get the Dolphins. And now that the Raiders are out, I do think the Chargers get in. But you can see how winning that game against the Bills keeps them in the picture. Dolphins win this week. The Patriots are out. I just don't think it makes sense. I think they want to keep it interesting. And then you can see that Green Bay does sneak in as a 7 seed. If we're to be nice and have them completely win out and have the Commanders lose 2 of 3. Now, again, do I think that happens? No. This is what I think happens. I know it looks crazy. I think we wind up getting some kind of public flip, something like that. But even if we wind up giving the Eagles this, which I don't think we do, this is what I think happens. I think the last week of the season, after Aaron's made his ridiculous comeback, I do think that the Commanders wind up winning because of the tie. I brought it up multiple times that tie is going to be vitally important. So nothing's changed as far as that. I do think the entire NFC East gets in with a winning record, or at least with not a losing record. And you can see how it's sad for the other teams, but it's extra sad for Aaron because, man, poor Aaron went on quite a run only to lose to a draw. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly what's going to happen, but with only 2 weeks left, I think I have my finger way more over the pulse. And honestly, even these seedings, like how these teams are finishing, is exactly how I expect them to finish. Just based off of the only thing I'm not sure of is the Chiefs Bills. I could see those two flipping, but I mean, as far as like the seeding, this is basically what I have. To me, this makes about the most sense. So we would get Tyreek Hill versus Kansas City, right? And we can go into all that another time. But we're getting some rematches. We're getting some games with potential upset value. We're just getting some fun games. So I do think that in my opinion, I think that the Commanders and the Giants get in. I figured I would just hit, I figured I would hit both their paths to the playoffs. Now, again, for that to happen, for the Packers to even be in it, that's why I do like them to cover the spread. They need this spread. They're out. They need the win. They're out without the win. So, yeah, they could just make it Lions and Seahawks. I don't think they do that. I don't think they relegate it to really 2 divisions, the NFC East and South. I think they want to make it where you got teams from the West that could be in it. You got teams, like I said, or the Packers could be in it. So as much as Tua winning makes sense to me, and as much as I think the public's going to be on Green Bay because of the losing streak Miami's been on, and because they want, in my opinion, the public wants Green Bay, so they're going to pick them. People do that. I'm going with them anyway. I'm taking them. Maybe they pay the public today. And Dolphins are a better team. So there's a lot of people that might buy the Dolphins down to 3. But Green Bay I like a lot to cover. And I know it's kind of a long video, but I wanted to go into our playoffs. So now we have most of our teams locked in, to be quite honest. So for the AFC side, we are locked in. These are our picks. We've covered them all now. The Raiders were my last pick, and the Chargers are the ones that the Raiders aren't getting in. So it's always important to reassess. So I think, I know it's not a shocker. I'm sure a lot of you guys are like, well, yeah, duh. This is who we knew these guys were getting in. The NFC is a little trickier, but I do think the Jags win the division. Again, Ravens and Bengals here. The 3 and the 5, I'm not saying they win the division. I'm just saying that they both get in. I was really more trying to, again, when I picked weeks 17 and 18, just pick the teams specifically for the NFC, since the AFC is basically locked. And as you can see, the entire NFC East gets in. Niners, Bucks, and Vikings. I do think the Bucks take that division. So there's nothing too crazy there. I will reassess the NFC South and put out a video just in case. I think the Panthers or the Falcons can flip them, or even the Saints, but I just don't see it happening. If you look at the AFC, you have arguably the top 6 draws in the AFC, and maybe outside of Russ, and I'm talking about as far as quarterbacks. The NFC, they went with draws too. You got Dak, you got Daniel Jones, you're probably going to have Jimmy G, Kirk. They went with some of the best. You got Hurts. The only thing you're missing is your Tom Brady. That's why it just makes sense, in my opinion, that he wins. You want the draws. So this is, I thought it'd be a fun way to go into it and really kind of round out our playoff pictures. Then we can start going into who we think wins in each round or into seeding and things like that. But again, for all of that to happen, in my opinion, Green Bay needs to win this game. And sure, they can get in the, maybe I'm wrong about the NFC Beast. I have them as over the Seahawks or Lions, I can tell you that. But I have them finishing 8th essentially. But I just think they go with it sounds, I don't want to overthink it, and I think they go with the simple Packers cover. If you didn't see my basketball videos, they've all remained the same. The only one I haven't really gone deeply into is the Suns, and I'll do that one tonight, as well as the Bucks game. I just figured for now I'd get the Packers out, and again, I like the Rams to cover. Nothing fancy. I will be buying it to 2.5. I think we're giving 3. If we were getting 3, then obviously I'd buy it at 3.5. But whatever it is, I'm just going to buy the half point on that game for the Rams, Broncos. And like I said, it was because they said the Rams are wearing some goofy uniforms. So the Packers cover is going to be a leg 2 from one of our losses yesterday. Doesn't matter which one. Let's say Atlanta. And most of our basketballs are leg 2s that I went into yesterday. So take care, everybody. Merry Christmas and happy earnings.